All right, we are on screen, off screen, back with one more episode this week. We talk about movies, books, all of that kind of stuff. We look for those things that influence us, that make us better people, and hopefully we can share some of that with you. I think we should start this episode with the greatest guest, the one of the most wonderful person of all time, Lauren.
Thanks. I think my topic is kind of shared with Josh's. It's Double Shoulders. It's a free game that you can get on Steam. I think it took us like 30 minutes to play from start to finish. Very
Like an
short.
hour.
Yeah, but we had like, I had to answer a door. You had a phone
Yeah, but the
call.
total playtime was like an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. And
It was like between 45 minutes and an hour.
yeah, so it's a quick game. It's kind of a little spooky. So you're like these two kids, and there's I don't even know how to explain them, but like these
It's
ghost.
co-op Little Nightmares.
That's
Yeah,
literally what I was just going to ask. That's what it looks
Yep.
like to me.
yep, and yeah, it was. I think I screamed a couple of times, uh, and it's a little glitchy to the point where I kept messing up and Josh would die because of it. I think like every single time Josh died, it was my fault.
Not
It was,
every single time. There was a time that I jumped off a ledge because I was trying to go too fast. But go ahead.
oh yeah, that's true. But it made me laugh because I would be like, you have to like sneak through these things and you have to like wait until they're not looking or they're distracted or you have to distract them, and then you'll end up letting one person by and then they have to go distract the thing and then you can crawl by. And it was always me going prematurely. And for whatever reason, Josh is hiding over here and we like run and pick him up.
Legitimately, she would get. So this monster guy thing was like at a desk working, and you had to wait till it was looking down and writing. And she would go like 30 seconds early and get to where I was and then run back the other direction. And the monster would just come and eat me as if I wasn't just hiding the whole time. Um,
It was
so
great.
there's some quirkiness to it for sure.
Yeah, so I think, and like this was like, I think a student project. So it was
Oh, that's
really
cool.
good and like really well animated for that. Um, yeah, puzzles are pretty good. It's glitchy, but it was fun. It was fun to play.
Sweet.
Uh,
I am a huge fan of Little Nightmares. I love those games. Josh, how do these compare to Little Nightmares? Like, tell me what you think.
I think that Little Nightmares is obviously a little bit more fleshed out and a little better. Um, if we're talking about like the design of the monsters, I would say Little Nightmares is slightly, very at a microscopic level better.
Wow.
But the design of the adults is very well done, very creepy. And even though you're in it for between 45 minutes and an hour, actually playing through it and solving the puzzles, there's like three or four different very creepy monsters. Like there's one that's kind of like the long armed one, and then there's another one that has a bunch of knives in his back. And if you get caught, he just like throws a knife at you, and it will like stick through you, and you'll die. Um, I think the puzzles are just kind of like very basic Little Nightmares puzzles. Like if you played through Little Nightmares, I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't those exact levels in Little Nightmares. Um, but I think that's a huge compliment. It's a student project, level design on par with the best one of these, if not Limbo or Inside. Though that would be your arguments. My
Those are the
favorite's
best ones.
Limbo, but um, you've got really creepy creatures. It's cooperative, so it's got its own little spin on it. If it worked non-remote play version, and you could actually just like link up online, it would be so much better. There was a part where Lauren was like, "Why aren't you coming after me? The thing is, the clock is ticking down. We're gonna die." And I'm like, I'm still waiting for you to reach your arm down on my screen because it was just completely frozen for me. Um, just like some ironing out of those things. There's two triggers, and I was never able to get into the zone of knowing which trigger did what thing. So there's this, it goes to the side scroller part, and there are these rats coming after you, and you have to get through the level as fast as you can in order to avoid the rats. And Lauren and I struggled with that section more than any other section, simply because you have to like boost each other up and then reach up and grab, but you're pressing the triggers and you're not doing the boost thing, or you're not leaning down to do the grab thing. You're just standing there, and it's like, this is a timed thing. You know, if it's not a timed thing, you can kind of wait for things to figure out and get onto the same page. But whereas we're timed, we're really struggling because I get caught in this thing and Lauren has to pull me out, but she presses the pull me out button and it's not working. So she's going back to this other button and then, oh, we're dead. So that part is frustrating for that reason. But like I said, if they just got online working normally, like you could totally do, it's already built into Unreal Engine. You don't have to do that much work to do that. If they just got that working, and then I think continued to work on it, give us more levels, make it longer. You know, I think, you know, 3 hours is a really solid, good co-op game, and make it 3 times longer. I think that they would be getting so much more attention for what they built. But 45 minutes, kind of buggy, cool, fun. You see a lot of really great qualities in it. You know, you can also give a lot of credit for the fact that it is a student project. You know, it's not something that they were necessarily doing because they wanted to or for the fun of it. And then you also have to take into account they're giving it away for free. I think they could totally charge $6 for this and people would buy it. But they're just, you can have it.
Charge of $6. You could take the time to incorporate some of these other ideas, especially being able to play on the internet. And
Yeah.
most of the negative reviews I'm seeing on Steam are, this is really interesting, but I can't get past this point, or I had to restart at this point, or whatever it is. Well, most of the reviews are just that.
Yeah. So just a little bit fine tuning. I really hope they're continuing to work on this project or similar projects. I hope that these people have a passion for this and want to keep doing it because they're really good at it. Like I would say it's an exceptional piece of artwork right now.
Like, would you recommend it for
Yeah.
me and Sid to try?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's only an hour at most. So,
Yeah.
and whereas you guys are playing local, you're not going to have any of the bug problems that we had. So,
Yeah.
We'll try that.
yeah, just
Free.
do it. It's free. Why not? Has Sid played Little Nightmares?
No, but I should
Okay.
have it for Little Nightmares because that'd be awesome.
We'll have her play this. If she likes it, she can play Little Nightmares.
Have
Yeah.
you played Little Nightmares, Lauren?
I'm too scared.
Freaking love Little Nightmares.
It's
I
not
love
even
those
scary.
games.
I
The third one's
can't.
supposed to come out this year. Let's go.
I wanted to do Little Nightmares because I thought it was like co-op, and I would love to do it with somebody. But if I'm just doing this by myself, I'm too chicken. I'm very against, not against, but for me against horror because I don't know. I have to sleep at night.
I think she's very animated, and if she decided to stream horror games, she would be very, very successful.
That
I
is a great idea.
I
You
did
would smash it.
Dead by Daylight with some friends, and it's mostly just me screaming.
People would love to watch that. Like, you already play Repo. Don't say you don't like horror. You already play these games.
That is goofy and with friends.
And yet, you still freak out and scream when the spider thing comes around the corner.
I like I said, I will do it with friends, but I can't do games like that alone.
If you just started streaming, you're basically with friends all the time.
They're with you.
I would do it with you. I think that'd be really fun.
That'd be so much fun.
Which
We
one?
should make that a podcast.
You
episode.
play horror games, and
Oh.
I'll
Plays.
just make fun of you as you play it.
Everybody just watch me play horror games.
I'll commentate on it.
That would be funny.
And 3 hours in, Lauren has decided to enter the insane asylum that is Outlast. Maybe we'll get through the tutorial soon.
Yeah, it's. I've literally had somebody put me in a VR headset for a horror game, and I'm like, they can't see my eyes, and I just closed my eyes and just like moved around. And then they finally caught on. They're like, "Are you even looking?" I was like, "No."
I think Outlast would give you a heart attack. I think you'd probably die. You can't
Like-
see
Yeah,
Outlast,
you
I
wouldn't have.
think
You
would
wouldn't
die.
start with that one.
No.
Work our way up to it.
Yeah. Outlast and then Alien Isolation. You can freaking piss your pants. Freaking terrifying.
Adult diapers needed for this.
That should be how they advertise it. They literally
comes with-
advertise adult diapers with the game on the side. That is the greatest advertising idea ever. I want to do that. Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. Anyway, that sounds interesting. I will give that a shot. Let's go over to my topic. And I'm going to actually switch things around a little bit. In the last episode, Lauren, you talked about hating the end of How to Train Your Dragon 3. I want to talk about How to Train Your Dragon 3. First, how would you feel about a fourth one? There are rumors that a fourth one could be in the works.
Depends. Because I might actually want a fourth one if it's going off of the third one.
Okay.
Meaning that
I
they
think that's the plan, yeah.
if they get the dragons back, because like I'm a huge Found family, and I feel like the first How to Train Your Dragon is all about, oh, we can coexist with dragons, and then the second one's like, oh, we need to protect our dragons, and the third one's like, we can't coexist with dragons, y'all. Let's yeet them into the earth. I was like, what? But like, that's your buddy. You both have missing limbs, and you work together. That's what this whole thing is about. And then, so that drove me nuts. So if they want to do a fourth one where it's like, okay, actually, now we can coexist with dragons, I might be into it. But also, I'm into finally just letting stories rest and not beating the crap out of them over and over and over. Let's find a new story to tell.
What do you think, Josh? Would you be into a fourth one?
I think it would entirely depend on the motivation. I mean, we can sit here, we can say, let's leave it to rest, right? But I would have been happy saying that after the first one. And I didn't like the second one, so I would have been like, why did we make this project? But then we got the third one, which I think is exceptional, you know? And we can look at that with anything, like Shrek. You know? 1 and 2, really, really good. 3, utter garbage. Probably should have let that rest, and then a lot of people are really into 4. Cars, 1, exceptional. 2, utter garbage. 3, I haven't seen, but it has really good reviews and people are really into it. So I think it depends on the motivation behind it. I think when you have passion for a project, that comes across on screen, and when it's a money grab, Lilo and Stitch, Snow White, Disney in general, there's no passion behind that project, and that comes across on screen. And you know, is the motivation to make money, or is the motivation like, I have this really good idea that I really want to put out there and build this project? And like, I think we all have movies and shows that we can tell, yeah, it's not very good, but I can give it credit for that it just being this passion project. Right. So if the motivation behind it is I'm really passionate about the How to Train Your Dragon universe, and I want to continue to tell Hiccup and Toothless story.
Go with the kids and tell the kids' story now. And
Yeah, and you're just really passionate about that, and you want to convey that story, and you have this idea for the story that you really want to do. That's really really great. I wouldn't be against that at all. It's the way 3 ends. There's very clearly story to tell.
yeah,
So it's not like one of these things where they wrapped up and they were like, well, we can make a fourth one anyway. But, you know. So those are the qualifications for me. Is like, what's the reason for creating that project? And, you know, it just that. It was like, why are you doing it? Is it for the money, or is it because you're really excited about this idea?
I would be the exact same way, and I hope they do a good job. I think Lauren has a pretty good point about the okay, we can be with dragons, and okay, we can't. I also absolutely love the third one. What do you think about that idea, Josh, and why do you like the third one as much as you do?
Oh, because I fundamentally disagree with that being the premise. Like, yes, in general terms, that is what happens, but I think the first one is accepting differences. The second one is garbage and we can ignore it. And the third one is like, just because we love and accept each other doesn't mean we have to be dependent on each other. And I can let you go and do the thing that will make you the happiest and the safest. And I can go and do the thing that I love to do and will be the happiest and the safest.
I tend to agree with that. The only thing I don't like about the third one is the idea that that Toothless's wing would last for that many years. Because I'm like, I don't know if that's realistic. But other than that, I think the movie's fantastic. It's a great movie. I like the way
It's a dragon. Why wouldn't it last? We're in Fantasyland.
It's still a mechanical thing. I was like, you'd probably need repairs on that at some point. I mean, you're getting some major torque on that machine. Or
yeah, but he already did that anyway, and goes through fire, and like Toothless literally lights himself on fire for fun, and the thing is fine. Like,
yeah,
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying
Yeah.
it's an animated kids project, so I'm fine with it.
I know. Like I said, it's small thing. Other than that, I love the third movie. Okay, that brings me to my actual topic. I went and watched the How to Train Your Dragon live action on Saturday, Sunday, and I was not expecting anything from this at all. Not a little bit. Thought it would be a cash grab, and I mean this in the best possible way. It feels like a very expensive fan-made movie. We've talked about some fan-made movies on the channel here on the podcast, and sometimes people who really care make something that is awesome. And this is really really good, actually. It is very very similar to the animated version, almost shot for shot. They took out a couple things that I didn't really like, and they added one thing that I kind of did. When Stoic is trying to get everybody to go to the dragon's nest, and they're like, anybody who stays gets to watch Hiccup, and everybody decides to go. It works in animation. It wouldn't be quite as good in live action. In this one, they use the Mystic Lady, and she pulls up some bones, and the bones say that we could find the dragon's nest this year, which obviously happens when they go with Toothless. And the way that they did that scene was really good. They have a lot of good highs in this. One biggest one is the dragons are freaking amazing. Like, phenomenal. Toothless could not have looked better. Bravo, good job. Fantastic. The dragon at the end in the fight there is absolutely epic. They did it extremely well. I'm super impressed. The flight scenes, just great. They gave answers to why there are so many races on this island. And is the answer the absolute best? No. But I appreciate the fact that they gave an answer for the typical Hollywood thing where they have to have like a black person and an Asian person and a white person in this Scandinavian country, and that makes no freaking sense. But it's magic dragons, and they give a answer. They actually address it instead of being like Mulan, where you have white people. And you're like, why? Why? Or a magical village with Beauty and the Beast, and there's a bunch of black people. And you're like, why? And it doesn't make any kind of sense, and there's no answer. They decided to actually address it. I appreciate that. All of the acting is honestly solid. Everybody does a pretty good job. It feels like How to Train Your Dragon. There's moments where you feel chills and you feel invested, and it really grabs you. Like they did a good job with that. Stoic is obviously voiced by Gerard Butler. It's the same person who voiced him in the animated version, and he's Gerard Butler, and he's freaking fantastic. Just does a good job. They did a lot of really good stuff in this, and I was impressed. The negatives to me, biggest one by far was Gobber. He is Gobber, you can tell he's Gobber, but they don't do any of the animated classics like, Trolls, they only take your left socks or whatever. All those different lines that Gobber says in a Gobber way that are just iconic, they basically took all of them out, and that was a huge mistake, and you really feel it in the movie. The other one is Snotlout. The character is just not the same. I don't think it's a bad character. It's still done well, and it's still a kid who wants to get the approval of his son. But instead of this, beef guy who just is, the bro of the bros, it's not the same thing. And I wish that they would have kept him as kind of the bro of the bros and had it be tasteful. But they took that out. The twins, I think, are done well. But it was a weird choice to have the girl be a fat chick. I don't know why they chose that, but it actually wasn't bad. They still did a good job with the character. It still was well done. So you have a couple things here that are they're a little bit off. Gobber is majorly off. The one scene that I wish they would have kept in it, because I think it's important to the entire story, is the scene where Toothless is he has the food, and the little dragon tries to steal the fish from him, and he shoots the fireball into the little dragon's mouth, because that literally is what they use to come up with the idea to beat the dragon at the very end. So at the very end, you're left with, well, how did they figure out that they could shoot into the mouth of the big dragon to win? And you don't really have an answer for that. It was an important scene that I wish they wouldn't have taken out. Another good thing I want to mention before I move on to another topic is the music. It's produced by the exact same person that did the first, and you can hear the difference in the soundtrack. And it was really cool to see a composer be able to literally do another version of his work already, and in my opinion, improve on it. You already have an incredible soundtrack, absolutely top-notch soundtrack. And I think he adds a little bit more instrumental value, and it's a little bit better. It's very similar, but a little bit better. And you're left with a movie that is a very pleasant surprise. In my opinion, is worth watching. And if the animated version didn't exist, I would still enjoy this movie. Where if the animated version of Cinderella didn't exist, I really wouldn't like the live action that much, and it's one of the better ones. Mulan is a train wreck. Freaking awful. The Snow White was terrible. It's a terrible movie. Most of those are just terrible, and you have the animated versions that are significantly better. This one, if this was somebody's favorite, I wouldn't completely understand it, because I think the animation is still just better. But I would be like, okay, cool.
It's interesting because you told me the little snippet of them taking out the little dragon. I actually watched a little part where the director was saying, oh yeah, we decided to take that out because he's like, the pacing felt weird with it in this. He's like, we filmed it, but the pacing didn't work because we'd already established that, oh yeah, we're realizing the dragons aren't what we think that they are, because that's also part of that scene. But yeah, you made a good point of that's where he found out they're not fireproof on the inside. So that's, yeah. I think they should have, if they didn't supplement that anywhere else in the movie, then I think they should have just kept that scene because I love that scene.
Love that scene too. And like you could logically figure out, oh, there's gas pouring out of this dragon's mouth. I could probably light that gas. But it's a lot better to. It's masterful how they show in the animation. This is how we beat the big baddie.
Mm.
It's done incredibly well. There's very, very few situations in movies that I can think of that are done as well to foreshadow events later on in a movie than that scene. And they shouldn't have taken it.
And like as far as live action remakes go, like there's people on one side that are like, I don't want it to be a shot by shot remake. I want it to be like it's there's a twist or whatever. Did you like that this was shot by shot?
Yes, absolutely. The reason that I can see, so like Toothless, I think the animated voice of Toothless is basically perfect. I don't. There are. We talk about roles that literally can't be done better. That's one of them to me. But this kid, his hero growing up was Hiccup. I said Toothless, didn't I? Hiccup.
Oh, Hiccup. Okay, I was like,
Hiccup.
sure they have the same voice.
The voice of Hiccup is perfect. Hiccup was this kid's hero growing up, and you can tell like he put a lot of passion into it, but he just isn't the absolute perfection of whoever voiced Hiccup in the original aspect. But he does a good job. So you have all of these scenes that are basically the exact same, and the reason that it works is because the dragons are so epic. And I read a review that said the dragons being live action makes them feel more impactful, and I can agree with that. I can see where someone would feel that way, and that's why I wouldn't be mad at somebody if this was their favorite version. It's not mine, but it is good.
I was when they announced there's going to be a live action. I'm very against live action remakes. I was like, I'm never going to go see it. But then I'm kind of getting swayed to actually go watch it because of like, I think they've done like a really good press tour for it, and like, you're right, the voice of Hiccup is so iconic that I was like, whoever they're gonna get, it's not gonna be that voice actor, but I think he hits it enough for me that that's not a problem. So I think I might go see it.
You did a good job. My standout actually is the one that everybody has the problem with. I think Astrid is really good in this. Like,
I didn't have
as
a
far
problem
as-
with her. Yeah.
As far as I don't know why they didn't just dye her hair blonde. I really don't think there would have been a problem if she just was blonde. Wouldn't have been that hard to do. But as far as translating from the animated version, I think she does the best job. She's really good. But I mean, besides Stoic, because it's the same thing.
Because it's the exact same. Oh, I was,
Astrid, other than that, she does a really good job.
I was gonna say Stoic.
Well,
And they-
I think that this show is a very rare accumulation of circumstances that makes it a little bit different than most live action remakes, in that I think the motivation for the project is money, but the people who are actually designated to create the project have a passion for the project,
I
i.e.,
completely agree.
how you get the shot for shot remake. Um, my problem it's in a can't win situation though, right? Because if they make it a shot for shot remake, people sit there and criticize it, go, why would I go watch that? And then if you make it different, people go, why did you change the thing I love? So I think that this is just for such a small audience, i.e., Brandon, who just doesn't connect with animation for whatever reason, would probably like the live action better because he just, in general, doesn't like animation. But that's one person. I will not pay to see this because I'm against its existence. It's
Fair enough.
created
I'm fine
for
with that too.
money, and like, answer the question. You've now seen it. You cast your vote with your dollar. Are you ever gonna rewatch this?
No, because the animation version is still there. Like that's still a fair thing. And they do another thing that they do that I kind of like normally I hate the whole girl boss thing, but there's a part at the very last fight where they're fighting the large dragon, and Hiccup is like, Astrid, tell us what we need to do, what would be the most strategic. And I was like, Hiccup is not this war general kind of person. Astrid is who is painted to be that person. That actually makes sense with the character. It's a little, very small change. It's like one little scene thing, but it works with Astrid. And I actually liked the little change. So they do a couple little things, but is it enough to make up for the absolute perfection of that first movie? No. But still enjoyable. Very, very enjoyable. Very well done.
Yeah, so just this movie for me falls into the category of I will not pay to watch it, but if somebody wants to pay for me to watch it or pay me to watch it, I would. You know, it's not like Lilo and Stitch or Snow White or any of their other live action remakes, Lion King, Mufasa, basically anything Disney's created in the last 10 years, where I'm just like fundamentally against it, and it is garbage.
Yeah, the only one from Disney that I actually kind of like is Jungle Book. The rest of them are all bad.
Well, and this is a DreamWorks production, and I'm trying to think of another project that DreamWorks has worked on that has gone live action.
Shrek.
This is the only one.
Oh, Shrek being a musical, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only. But that's like a play, not really a.
No, I mean, it's live action, but in a different
Yeah.
way. I understand.
Yeah, but like, as far as like this being DreamWorks' first remake, I really hope that they don't make it practice like Disney is.
Depends on the dollar. That's
Yeah.
my thing.
This
Is
thing
like
makes $1 billion.
they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah,
I bet.
That's-
I bet the second How to Train Your Dragon will happen. I don't know about their other projects because, like, a lot of their other things I don't think would work nearly as well. Like Shrek live action would be horrifying. That's a terrible idea. That would not work at all. Road to El Dorado would work. Can you think of anything else that would actually work?
maybe Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt would work. I could even actually get behind Prince of Egypt because I don't love the movie, and I think it could be better.
That's because it's not a very good movie. Like I said, I don't have any problem with people wanting to do a live action remakes of bad projects. Like, if that was the mentality, I would be okay with it. In fact, encourage it. Like, yeah, you created something that was subpar. You want to give it new life because it's a good idea. Great. Remaking really good projects in live action for the money is just not gonna give them my vote with my dollar. That's where I'm at with it. It's not gonna do it.
Yeah, I also think it's just lazy, and I'm like trying to think of like how long have we had televised like storytelling, and it's like, did we really just go through all of our stories in just this short amount of time? I don't think so. I think we could put it towards better projects. But I do understand money because that's why we have so many Toy Stories, is because they're like, oh, well, this is a toy that we can keep reselling every single time we put out a new Toy Story. So
And they're freaking making another one.
really? Ugh.
They are. That's garbage. I did not like the last Toy Story. I hate that movie. I hate that movie.
Trying to think of, I don't even know what number they were on.
It's Toy Story 4. It's a trash movie.
Is that the spoon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Some of the animation in it is amazing, but the movie sucks. Anyway, that was How to Train Your Dragon live action. If you guys have seen it, I'd be curious what you think. I obviously honestly liked it. Let's go to our last topic, which I am absolutely pumped to talk about. Did you watch this one, Lauren?
I did.
You did? Okay, let's hear about your thoughts first, Miss Animation Guru.
Okay. I thought the animation was really good, and this was like something that I wanted to point out, because I saw your notes, Josh, that it could have been better.
I saw that too, and I completely disagree.
Um,
Completely.
so, like, animation as an industry, like, for a while was going, like, how realistic can we get this to look? And then I can't remember if it was Into the Spider Verse or Arcane. I think it's probably a mixture of both that kind of like tilted it to be like, wait, we have creative power to make this look however we want. Why don't we twist away from trying to make everything look so freaking realistic and try different styles? So I think this just might not have been a style that fit well with you, because I did notice that they had their frame rate was different, um, comparatively to everything else. Um, I my first note though was they loved decapitation in this show. That was like how everybody died. It was very rare if you did not die of decapitation, which I feel in like shows that is a very dramatic um, death that you need to save for like a dramatic effect. And I think they kind of abused that a little bit, because then by the end I was like, oh, and there's his head. Whereas usually, like in a movie, they love to have that scene where it's like, oh, let's do it from his head up, and then all of a sudden it just falls off frame, or like you see the body and then you see the head roll off, and so it's like, yeah, I've seen it a million times now. um, and then I had to Google, because I haven't seen any other Predator movies. Oh, did we tell what we're talking about? Oh, so
Predator Killer of Killers is what we're talking about. That was my bad, guys.
yep.
Predator Killer of Killers, new animated movie from Hulu. Great. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so I hadn't seen any Predator movies. All I knew about Predator is that like you could see like heat signatures. And so I was like going into this and I was like, what is this alien's deal? And I literally like Googled what's Predator's deal. Which you need to preference Predator from the movies. Don't just type in what's the Predator's deal. Once I looked up like the Predator movies, I realized I was like, oh, they're just like hunting them for sport. And then I kind of made a note that I was like, if there's horse girls, wolf girls, and dolphin girls, there's Viking boys, samurai boys, and World War II boys. And I was like,
You're forgetting ancient Roman boys.
oh
Come
yeah.
on,
Well, I think
obviously.
all boys are Roman boys, so the Roman Empire. Uh, but yeah, I thought it was really funny. I was like, I think they were really smart on like they're like, okay, what's the best um, fighters of history, and then they like got a Viking, a samurai, and World War II, which I thought it was really funny when he's like, this isn't even from my century, when they gave the World War II guy a gun. He's like, I can't use this. Um, but I thought like once again the animation for the fighting was great. It was really good. It tracked well. It was because a lot of times when you have an animation and there's fighting, sometimes I get lost in it of just like blurs of colors and they're trying to show everything. And that's where I think the animation was brilliant for slowing down their frame rate so that you could like see what was happening. Um, but yeah, I thought that was great. And then I did notice they had like a little bit of a recipe of like this guy has his buddy and they're fighting the predator, but he's the sole survivor of fighting predator. But makes sense for the end when they're like, we can't beat him alone. And so I really liked, yeah, story was great. I think animation was great. Because it's not usually a movie I would be my go-to, but I'll actually probably watch it again because I liked it. It's pretty good.
What do you think, Josh?
So my notes are: I do think the animation could be slightly better. Not saying it's bad because it is very exceptional. It is very good, but by having that slower frame rate, I think those action sequences can lose some of their impact. Like I know one of the animation techniques is to slow that frame rate down for like a punch to make it feel more impactful, but because they're already going really slow, even though the choreography of them are is phenomenal, it's so great. Uh, it just doesn't feel as impactful for that reason. I will say that like when I very first started it, the frame rate bothered me more than it did as it went on. But I just think that like making it just a little smoother is all I would really want, is just a little tweak, um, because that jittery slow frame rate during the storytelling elements is so heavily noticeable. It's just like you can't ignore it. Um, but I do think it's really great. I think uh, what they were trying to take from was so painfully obvious that they did a great job with that. Um, they were very clearly going for the arcane style and like stole Vi as a character entirely. And like the little redheaded boy was just Vi. Like I'm convinced. I didn't put them side by side, but I was like, that's Vi. Without a doubt, that's young Vi. The fact that you stole it so well is exceptional credit to you. The inspiration very clearly is Arcane, and as somebody who loves Arcane, like that's really really cool. Um, it's awesome and it's epic, and you know that they have compelling story when the characters themselves don't have to talk a lot. And I know that that really pays off with the fourth act when they're all together and can't communicate. But the fact that like we're dealing with this Viking lady and we're getting her whole story, but there's 5 lines of dialogue, and then we go to the samurai guy, which was my personal favorite, and he's got like 10 lines of dialogue, but they're all in very short amounts at the very beginning and then at the very end. And then you have the World War II guy who's basically just talking to himself through the entire thing and only interacts with one other character or two other characters through the show. It's like, you've got a good idea, right? Like we were talking about uh, Love, Death, and Robots last week or the week before, and the World War II bomber one, and there was no lines of dialogue in that. And like when you can tell a compelling story without dialogue, that is incredible to me. Um, and this show does it there too. I knew a little bit more about Predator, but I still haven't seen any Predator movies other than Alien versus Predator 1 and 2. Um, I freaking love this show. It's so good. Like, my knock on it is, like I said, very slight little nitpick that I think the animation should be smoothed out a little bit better.
Nice. So my first note is this is effing awesome. I freaking loved this. Not liked it. I loved this. I watched this twice in the last week. I love this. Um, you have I love the animation. We talked about slowing it down when he is flying the plane through the boats so that the predator behind him can be shot. They slow down the blast as it's hitting the sky so you really feel the impact. I love this movie. You have the very first part with the Viking, and you have the Viking girl. And the way she takes down the predator is one of the most badass things I have ever seen in my entire life. I love this movie. But she goes underneath the water, and when she's under the ice and the predator can't see her, oh, this is so cool. And she breaks through the ice and freaking shoves the predator into the ground and drowns him. What a good freaking thing. I love it. But she loses her son, and you have the story where you have the Viking and then you have the samurai, and then you have the World War II, and they all come together at the end. And I love I love aliens, and I love the aspect of Ridley protecting this pseudo daughter. Like it's one of my favorite parts about the movie. It's one of the reasons why I like it so much. And it's hard to write warrior women and have it come across really authentically. And one of the ways to be authentic is the mama bear aspect, and I love the mama bear aspect. And at the very end, the mother Viking decides to sacrifice herself for her boys. Like, she decides to mother these two that she just barely met and she just started to fight with. And I was like, let's go. I love that storyline, and it's done with so few lines. With people who can't understand each other. They can't talk to each other. Mind freaking blown. I cannot give enough praises to this movie. I had high expectations. I love this movie.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned, like, because like first when they get thrown into the arena, she wasn't Mama Bear yet, because she was trying to kill them, because they're like, okay, kill each other, and then you can try to kill me. And like the samurai guy's like, we need to, like, come on, we need to take her down together. And then it was like that. I think it was when they brought in the bigger monster and it swallowed him, that she's like, oh, and like I can't remember the exact scene, but I think there is like the scene where it like flickers in between her son and the World War II pilot, and then she's like,
Because he makes the same face as her son did when her son was killed.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what. And so then that's what like got her to understand, like, okay. And then yeah, and then I think it was something like when she was like going down on the chain or something, she said like, stay away from my boys or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved that moment. Oh, that was so cool. Yeah. I do not know who the last frozen person was. And I feel like that was important because it ended on the frozen person's face.
It's a what's it called when something is cool that's added in? What is the word?
Callback or
No, Easter egg. It's an Easter egg. There's the guy who directed this is the same guy that directed Prey, the last one, and it's about a predator hunting Indians, and the girl who shows up is the Indian girl from that movie.
Oh, okay. So it's like, she looked important, but I don't know.
That movie's really good too, but this one is better.
Okay.
I'm with you, Lauren. I thought that I was like, did I miss an entire plot about a person? Like, did I zone out for an entire section of this movie? Because I don't recognize that. I think that would have been a better side note rather than an ending note, because I eventually landed on, oh, they're probably doing a sequel.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it was just an Easter egg. I think they could have made it more after creditsy than they did. But I was cool with it. It was kind of like, oh, that's cool. They added that. It's a good movie still, and he is doing another sequel, which I'm so pumped for. Prey is good, and this is fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be mad if they wanted to do a sequel to this where they are chasing down the World War II pilot in the in their ship and stuff. Because yeah, you have a one-armed samurai and spoilers.
That would be super cool. That would be super cool. Like, they could do a lot of stuff with this, and if I would have watched this when I was like 10, this would have become my entire personality for months. I would have just been obsessed. This would have been Star Wars to me. That's how much I freaking love this movie.
I mean, it was really cool that I think, like I said, they took three genres of like. I feel like I have friends where they're like, oh yeah, Vikings, everything Vikings, or like samurai, everything samurai, and stuff. And so, like, you have a little bit for everybody, but still, even if like Vikings aren't your thing, that was still really cool. And I liked that portion of it. And then same with every single bit. Yeah.
So which one was your favorite, Lauren?
I like the samurai too, and then I would say samurai, Viking, then World War II.
Conlon?
Viking, samurai, World War II.
Oh, Samurai, World War II, Viking.
You got it. Well, if I would have been
That's
World
how
War
good
II.
this movie is. Like they're all really, really great. Like there's
They're
none
all
that you
fantastic.
don't like. They're all super good. And like I just my favorite thing about the World War II guy is how his feels more clever than the other ones. Like I was very like, oh, this is the worst one until he was towards the end, and I was like, oh no, he's the one who's actually like outsmarting these things, and I loved that.
I appreciated that a lot too.
Yeah, especially when like they're bringing the weapons out. I was like, oh, World War II is screwed. Then they give them a freaking
Well, I meant like in their individual fights.
oh
Like the
that too.
samurai
Yeah.
guy, he gets assistance, right? The Viking girl, she outskills the thing, and World War II, he outsmarts them, and it's so great because when they come together, you have the assistant, the skill, and the smarts, and they all team up together, and it's like everyone fills their role and their purpose in it, and it's all great for that. It's just like I highly value intelligence, so
My only negative about the show is when the Predator is getting shot by all of the World War II boats. I wish that he would have. I wish the Predator would have shot down one of the boats. Like, just tried to do something instead of being so focused on this one goal to realize that he's in a bad spot. It made me feel like the Predator was a little bit dumber.
but he
than
can't see the boats. There's no heat signatures. They're big metal things in the ocean. He would see the flashes and the gunfire, but he
That's
wouldn't see
interesting.
the
That's a good point.
boats.
Yeah.
Right?
Fair.
That's why I think
That's
it's
fair.
so brilliant that he went through an active war zone, knowing that
That's fair.
right. Like, I mean, logically there would be a heat signature, but so would there be a heat signature when he flies up in his plane. The heat just wouldn't disappear.
Disappear. Yeah.
Like it would still be a very hot engine, especially after a climb like that. But you accept it because there's enough logic there that you're like, yeah, okay,
And it's animation, so you let a few more things go with animation.
Yeah.
Just do.
yeah.
I did
I just
really
love
like him flooding his engine, like flooding the tank to then like have it get ripped out and then explode on him. But
It was awesome.
Oh, that was my least favorite part.
really, oh,
Yeah, because that's not how you flood an engine. That makes no logical sense if you understand how engines work. But it's fine.
I mean,
Like
I did
a
have
flooded
to,
engine is one that's filled with gas that isn't igniting because there's more gas than there is air, so there's no ignite. So like when you're trying to start your car and you start it, you put gas into it, and then you put more gas into it, and then you put more gas into it, and that's how you get a flooded engine. An engine that is already on will not flood because there's already spark and air, which means there's no way for it to get too much fuel.
was his plane on at that point when he was flooding it?
It was just on.
Oh, okay,
So
I
you,
agree.
you
That's
can't do
dumb
it. So you
then.
can. It's very easy to flood an engine when you're starting an engine. It's near impossible to flood an engine while using your engine. It's just how they work. It was a little thing that I was like, that's not how engines work. But again, didn't bother me at all. So
I thought he
it's fine.
had already turned off the plane to go invisible again, but yeah.
Fair enough. All right. What were your guys' ratings of this?
9 out of 10.
8.
Easy 9, and I'm debating putting it higher. I just don't want to like have new bias. But
I just don't
I
want to.
love this.
Well, he's trying to argue against recency bias, which is fair.
Yeah.
I'm torn between an 8 and a 9.
I'm,
I didn't watch it twice in a week. If I watched it twice in a week, I'd be like, and still loving it. Like, yeah, I would probably go easy 9, but I will rewatch this one. I just don't know when I would rewatch it. If anything, this has sparked my interest to actually watch some Predator movies.
I would be super interested in what you think about the first one, having watched this. Super interested.
I probably won't like it because of how old it is.
It is old and it's got the 80s cheese for sure.
Yeah, and it doesn't have the nostalgia that Alien versus Predator has for me. That's a movie they should remake.
They should remake it and they should do it animated, and I want this guy to do that because that would be freaking.
I'd be okay with them doing it live action. Just get rid of terrible writing. I think the idea is great.
I would be cool with it too, but animated like this, if the sequel to this was Alien versus Predator, I would lose my freaking mind.
They could do a very good job with that for sure.
I
Yeah.
would love it. I would love it. Anyway, guys, that is going to be our episode. We appreciate you watching. You guys are all the best. If you want us to watch anything, just let us know. We love watching new stuff. We love finding things that don't pop up normally, hidden gems, anything like that. Thanks, everybody. See ya. Peace out.